Hey everyone! I hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. I recently got a question about how to stop the bow from making a screeching noise when we play. I definitely have experienced that, so I wanted to share a few tips on how to get a better tone on the violin. There is also one important thing you need to do before you start playing. You should make sure that you have enough rosin on there, and also you don't want there to be too much rosin. I'll probably post another video about rosin because it's very important in creating a good tone. Now I can start talking about the three most important things that will help you get a nice tone. The first one is pressure. Pressure basically just means how hard you're pressing down on the string. Basically what I try to start students off with is aiming for a medium pressure, meaning that you don't want it to be too light and you don't want it to be too heavy. Here's what it sounds like when the pressure is too light. See how it's kind of tingy and it's not very clear, kind of whistly. The opposite, when you do it too heavy, it sounds scratchy, and that's definitely not what you want. Play around with heavy pressure and light pressure and trying to find the perfect balance to make it sound clear like this. The second thing you should be aware of is speed, bow speed. That's just how fast you're moving your bow and how much bow you're using at a given time. I try to aim for, at the beginning, just a medium speed. You don't want to be too fast or too slow when you're starting out. Obviously, when you get more advanced, you definitely want to be able to use all kinds of speed. Generally, the faster the bow is, the more pressure you want to put on there. Because if it's not enough pressure, then it's going to kind of slide and won't be clear. The slower your bow is, the less pressure you want to use. See how it's still clear? If we use too much pressure, it would be scratchy. So in order to get a good tone, you definitely have to kind of find the balance between pressure and speed. The third thing that I try to be aware of is sound point. Sound point is basically where your bow is in the middle of the fingerboard and the bridge. The general thing that I try to get my students to do is try to stay mainly in the middle of the fingerboard and bridge. Not too close to the fingerboard and not too close to the bridge. But of course, as you get more advanced, you can play around with different sound points. The reason why we want that to be constant is that if you change the sound point as you're bowing, that's going to change the tone. Just another point is if you're bowing closer to the fingerboard, you generally want to use less pressure because you don't have to put as much pressure since there's not as much tension in this section of the string. If you're playing closer to the bridge, there's a lot of tension in that area, so you have to put more pressure in order to get a good sound out of it. If you don't, it creates that whistly tone. It takes a lot of practice and awareness, but if you keep these three things in mind, you're going to be able to create a nice tone. One more thing that you should be aware of is that when we play close to the frog, we need to lighten up our pressure just a little bit because the frog already has more weight than the rest of the bow, and our hand also adds extra weight. Whenever you get close to the frog, try to lift the pressure just a little bit more than if you would play in the other areas of the bow. This is what happens if you don't lift the pressure. When you get close to the tip, you might want to put a little bit more pressure because it's already lighter than the rest of the bow. If you don't have enough pressure at the tip, then it's going to make that whistle tone. So try playing around with the different pressures in the different parts of the bow as well. So I hope these tips will help you achieve a really beautiful and clear tone on the violin or any stringed instrument really you can apply these principles to. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm really excited to post more tutorials. I'll see you next time.